March 3rd, 1887, a day that would begin the transformation of Helen Keller's life. I'm Anne Mansfield Sullivan, and March 3rd is the day that I met Helen, a girl who was deaf, blind, and mute. Helen was not always trapped in the wordless cry of her soul, but was once a beautiful, healthy baby girl. After a mysterious illness robbed her of her sight and hearing, she became a very difficult, troubled child, forcing her parents to search for help. That is when Alexandra Graham Bell referred her parents to the Perkins Institute for the Blind, a school in Boston. I was sent from the Perkins Institute to become Helen Keller's tutor. The first lesson I'd ever taught Helen is that everything has a name. I awakened this concept by giving Helen a doll, one that was sent from the Perkins Institute, and by slowly spelling the word D-O-L-L into the palm of her hand. Helen immediately repeated these finger movements, and within days she had learned many words. But what I struggled most to impress upon Helen is the link between spelling and the meaning of words. The mystery of language was finally revealed to Helen when one day we were walking and we stopped at a water spout where I drew water from it into Helen's hand and spelled the word W-A-T-E-R into the other. Instantly I could tell by Helen's expression that she understood that everything had a name. Discovering the connection between meaning and language was a huge milestone for Helen. I began to teach her many subjects including algebra, literature, geography, and more. From this, Helen began to learn about and reach out to the world around her. I knew that Helen desperately wanted to learn how to speak, so I began to teach her that too. After practicing endlessly, finally, in the spring of 1890, Helen learned to speak. Finally, Helen was able to step out of this prison of silence. Incredibly, Helen took her exams of entry to Radcliffe College in the summer of 1899 and was successful. Helen was going to try strength by the standards of those who can see and hear. Helen entered Radcliffe College and soon realized that college was a place to learn and not to think. Helen especially struggled in lecture halls filled with regular students. While regular students were listening to lectures and jotting down notes, Helen was having me spell the lectures into her hands as quickly as possible. Besides school, Helen loved the country and outdoor sports. During her summer, she loved to canoe, sail, and row. Despite her love for nature, Helen's ideal world was always her literature. Helen was the first deafblind person to graduate from Radcliffe College. In the end, Helen Keller's friends made her life much better and turned her limitations into what she called beautiful privileges.